A national security agency contractor has been arrested and charged with stealing highly classified information, authorities said on Wednesday, a data breach that could mark a damaging new leak about the U.S. government's surveillance efforts. Harold Thomas Martin, 51, who worked for Booz Allen Hamilton, was taken into custody in Maryland in August. Booz Allen is the same firm that employed Edward Snowden when he revealed the collection of content and metadata by the NSA in 2013. The same month Martin was arrested, some of the NSA's most sophisticated hacking tools were dumped onto public websites by a group calling itself shadow brokers, which has led some, like former high-level NSA official and whistleblower William Binney, to question if there is a new Snowden and if Martin could be him. We reached Binney on the phone.
That was my guess to begin with when I first heard about the the source code being exposed. It wasn't him, that it had to be someone else inside, because first of all, it's source code. Now, they do not distribute source code outside of the central areas that develop it. So they keep that kind of secure and in place, and they don't let anybody know what the source code is. They distribute what's called executable code. That's a conversion of the source code into something in machine language that will be executable through a compiler on a server, for example. And so that's what they distribute. So if anybody had the executable, that's one thing, but to have the source code, it means it had to come from inside the TAO office.
Unnamed government officials have said Martin is, quote, a weirdo, not a whistleblower.
That's a standard approach that NSA takes on any whistleblower, anybody who does anything that they don't like. They call them disgruntled or unstable, or it's a ad hominem attack that they're doing. It's standard. It's standard practice for them.
Word of the arrest followed a New York Times report that the FBI was investigating whether he stole and disclosed highly classified computer source code, which is being reported as developed to hack into networks of Russia, China, North Korea, and other countries, but Binney says can do much more.
These are commonly used firewalls, operating systems, and switches and servers around the world. So what they've got is designed into. They've got a way to hack into those. They found weaknesses in those systems, and so they can hack into them wherever they are.
The complaint, which dates back to 2014, could predate Snowden, Binney argues. It reads in part, quote, these 6 documents were produced through sensitive government sources, methods, and capabilities, which are critical to a wide variety of national security issues. It said Martin had the ability to access U.S. government property that was not permitted to leave his authorized location. White House spokesman Josh Earnest said he was aware of the arrest and criminal complaint, but could not offer any more details.
There was a complaint that was made public today by my colleagues at the Department of Justice. The existence of that complaint obviously is an indication that there is an ongoing criminal investigation. That's going to limit quite sharply what I'm able to discuss from here.
The Justice Department's Chief National Security Prosecutor John Carlin declined to comment on the specifics of the case. He said, however, that insider threats have long posed a challenge to the government. Martin faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted on the most serious charges.
Well, here's the problem. See, the problem is they have known that these weaknesses have existed for years. And by allowing them to continue to exist, what it meant was they could look into what people were doing anywhere in the world, which was fine for them. That's what they liked. But at the same time, what that meant was everybody who was using any of the systems, firewalls, operating systems, networks, servers, switches, or whatever, were all vulnerable. So we were all exposed and vulnerable to attacks from not just governments or groups of individuals, but also in specific individuals, hackers around the world, anywhere in the world. NSA has no monopoly on smart people, so therefore any of them could find these weaknesses and hack into everybody too. And that's what's been going on if you look at the OPM hack and so on. And then what they do is they use the hacks going into OPM and everything saying, isn't cybersecurity really a serious issue?
Binney says the treatment he and other whistleblowers have faced who have gone through legitimate channels has forced the actions of those like Snowden, who found refuge in Russia after fearing he could not get a fair trial in the United States. Binney's outspoken criticism of the NSA during the George W. Bush administration made him the subject of FBI investigations that included a raid on his home in 2007.
Yeah, that's right. And the sad part about it is we have a government that when they find when a whistleblower comes to them and says something to them, what they're really doing is raising a problem or an issue that needs to be fixed. And if they fix it, it would be to the betterment of not only the government but the country, and be better for the people all around. But instead of doing that, they attack them and they try to cover up what's going on in that process. So it's basically they're not fixing the problems that are being raised, and so that means that these problems continue and are perpetually with us. So, we have a government that's totally dysfunctional in that aspect.
Binney doesn't think Martin will get a fair trial in the U.S.
I don't think he's going to have too much of a chance. I mean, they're going to deal with him just like they did Bradley Manning or Chelsea Manning. They're not going to really give him a chance to plea any kind of make any kind of plea. It's the same kind of treatment that Snowden would get. He wouldn't be allowed to plea at anything. It would all be done behind closed doors in secret with, basically no what we would consider due process in a court of law.
And he supports clemency for Edward Snowden.
Because after all, he's going to give clemency to Bush, Cheney, Hayden, Tenet, and all the people who are part of this criminal activity of subverting and basically treason against the founding principles of our nation. That's criminal too. So basically he's giving them a pass, just like they did to Hillary Clinton with all the emails and stuff that she did. So, I mean, if they're going to give a pass to them, they should give a pass to everybody that's exposing it.
For The Real News, this is Jessel Knorr.